Om Swastiastu. Hello Basmi, I'm Rafka. Here I will explain about ngerorot. So without further ado, let's begin. In Balinese society, customary law does not exist merely as written regulation, but as living guideline practiced in daily life. One event that clearly demonstrates the strong role of custom is marriage. Behind what appeared to strict rule, Balinese society actually possesses a very flexible customary system to respond to various social situations. One example is the tradition of ngerorot. Ngerorot is often simply understood as elopement. However, this definition does not fully represent its position within the Balinese customary system. This tradition is not merely a spontaneous act by young people, but a part of cultural structure has been known for centuries, at least since the Bali Kuno period around the 9th to the 14th centuries, and continuing during the Majapahit influence from the 14th to the 16th century. In several historical periods, ngerorot even served as a solution to social barriers that were difficult to overcome through formal marriage arrangement. Through ngerorot, we can see that Balinese custom function not only as a regulator of behavior, but also as a base for negotiation between personal desire and social expectation. Therefore, discussing ngerorot is important to understand how Balinese society maintains balance between tradition, changing time, and social harmony.
Historical ngerorot has been widely recognized since the traditional Balinese era, especially during the kingdom's period around the 50th century to the late 19th century. At the time, social life was strongly influenced by social hierarchy, the caste system or wangsa, and village customary regulations framed in awik-awik. Marriage was generally arranged by extended families to preserve honor, lineage, and social status. In regions such as Gianyar, Klungkung, and Karangasem, ngerorot emerged as an alternative when formal marriage was not possible. Difference in caste, family disapproval, or economy limitation often become the background factor. Although conducted without a formal proposal, ceremony, or mamadi, ngerorot was still considered part of customary law rather than a violation of it.
During the Dutch colonial period in Bali, approximately 1846 to 1942, and the Japanese occupation 1942 to 1945, the practice of ngerorot continued in many traditional villages. Although the governmental system changed, customary law remained the main guideline in social life, including marriage matters. After Indonesian independence, particularly during the 1950s to the 1960s, Balinese social structure began adjusting to the national legal system. Change became more visible with the growth of education and tourism sector. The 1970s to the 1990s, moderation shift people perspective, including view on marriage. Nevertheless, ngerorot did not completely disappear.
Entering the early 2000s, around 2002 2010, the dynamic of ngerorot entered an interesting transitional phase. During this time, globalization, the development of communication technology such as mobile phones and early internet, and the increasing social mobility of young generation began influencing relationship patterns and marriage decisions. Interaction among social groups become more open, reducing the influence of caste barriers and village boundaries compared to earlier periods. In this context, ngerorot was no longer dominant as a solution to sweep social prohibition but more often become practical choice for couples wishing to accelerate marriage without lengthy proposal stage or large ceremonial expense. Even so, customary communities continue to uphold the obligation of completing traditional procedure after marriage so that the marriage remain socially recognized. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ide Bagus Barnaman Maputra, number 17. Now, I will explain Ngororot in the Reform era until the 21st century or 1998 to the present. From source I get in internet, Ngororot can still be found. Although less frequently than in the past, the reasons have also shifted. If previously it was mainly driven by customary and structural factors, today it often occurs due to personal considerations, such as desire to marry without a long process or limited financial resources. In general, Ngororot follows structured stakes. The process usually begins with mutual agreement between the man and the woman who intends to marry. After determining the time, the bride is taken to the groom's family house. This correctly to avoid conflicts. The groom's family then conducts customary and religious ceremonies, so the marriage becomes spiritual legitimate. Afterwards, they must inform the bride's family through the Munkahlawa processions as a form of social responsibility. Behind this practice lie cultural values that emphasize balance between personal freedoms and social obligations. Ngororot is not a rejection of custom, but is a recognized path within the traditional systems. It reflects the Balinese principle that social harmony must always be maintained.